The auction hall was huge, filled with lights that reflected off polished metal surfaces and holographic screens flashing images of ships from across the galaxy. Alien species of every shape and size crowded the platform, their voices echoing in a cacophony of languages. Some had long, slender limbs, others were squat and armored, and a few had colors and patterns that shifted with their moods. All of them were here for one reason: rare starships. But among the countless shining vessels and new models, one ship stood apart, not because it was valuable, but because it was ignored. Rust streaked its hull, dents ran along its sides, and panels hung loose like the ship had survived centuries of neglect. Most buyers walked past it, murmuring about its uselessness. Beyond repair, an insected bidder hissed to its companion, wings clicking in disdain. No alien could fix it. Waste of credits. Captain Elias Grant watched quietly from the edge of the crowd. He was human, and humans were rare in this part of the galaxy. Most of the aliens thought humans were reckless, fragile, or too small to matter. Elias didn't mind their doubts. In fact, he liked it that way. There was something about this forgotten starship that called to him. Maybe it was the way the hull seemed almost defiant against decay, or the faint hum that escaped from its core. He didn't know why, but he felt certain that this ship, this broken relic, had potential, something the others could not see. The auctioneer's voice boomed over the hall. Next item, a derelict cruiser XJ-97, believed lost for 3 centuries. Condition critical, sold as is. The alien crowd laughed. They assumed the ship would fetch nothing, that it was worthless. Elias stepped forward. His boots clicked on the metal floor as he examined the ship more closely. Its surface was scarred, yes, and the paint had faded, but the lines of its design were elegant in a way only a trained human eye could appreciate. The curves and angles suggested efficiency and balance. He could see hidden panels and compartments that no alien had even bothered to inspect. He whispered to himself, "Most people see rust. I see a story waiting to be told." As the bidding began, most offers were small, tentative. Aliens bid in cautious increments as if no one wanted to take the risk. Elias raised his hand slowly, placing a bid that startled everyone around him. "You can't be serious," a tall, 4-armed alien said, clicking its claws against the floor. "That ship is trash. It will never fly again." Elias smiled calmly. "I don't need it to fly the way you imagine," he said. "I see potential." The auctioneer banged his gavel. "Going once, going twice." Elias raised his bid slightly higher. Murmurs filled the hall. Aliens whispered among themselves, some laughing, some frowning. They assumed no human could fix a starship like this. "Sold," the auctioneer finally declared. "To Captain Elias Grant, human." A wave of shock rippled through the hall. Aliens stared at him, jaws dropping. Some tried to protest, but the gavel had already fallen. The ship was his. Elias grinned as he walked toward it. The alien's eyes followed him, full of disbelief. Most assumed he had made a foolish mistake. They didn't know humans. Boarding the ship, Elias felt the air inside was stale and metallic. Dust and neglect had settled everywhere. The lights flickered weakly. Some corridors were blocked by collapsed panels, and strange smells filled the engine room. It was far worse than he had imagined, but to him, that only meant opportunity. He activated his portable scanner. The readings were erratic, but some systems were still intact. The propulsion core emitted a faint energy signature, and the life support system, though weakened, still functioned. Elias smiled. "Not bad for a forgotten relic," he murmured. He moved carefully through the corridors, noting which systems were repairable and which would require more creative solutions. There were signs of past battles, scorch marks along the walls, and dents that suggested the ship had survived fights that would have destroyed other vessels. That resilience impressed him. Humans were built to endure, and perhaps this ship had been designed with the same philosophy. In the cargo bay, he found crates of tools and old spare parts. Some were broken, some were missing, but Elias didn't see a problem. He saw materials for innovation. He had a plan forming in his mind, ideas that no alien engineer would dare attempt. As he explored, he discovered something even more remarkable, a sealed chamber near the center of the ship. Its surface was smooth, untouched by rust or damage. Intrigued, Elias carefully opened it. Inside was a strange console, covered in symbols he had never seen. The panel pulsed faintly as if it was alive, waiting for someone to understand it. "Interesting," Elias whispered, crouching to examine it. He traced his fingers over the symbols, feeling a subtle vibration under his touch. It was not just a machine, it was smart, almost sentient. Hours passed as he explored every corner of the ship. By the time he stepped back onto the auction platform, the alien crowd had mostly dispersed, some shaking their heads, others muttering insults. They couldn't understand why a human would invest in a derelict, but Elias didn't care about their opinions. He knew something they didn't. Humans had a unique way of seeing possibilities. Where others saw useless scrap, he saw a vessel that could be reborn, stronger than any of its contemporaries. That night, as he settled into the small captain's quarters, he activated the ship's main console. It flickered to life slowly, lights glowing dimly, a low hum filling the room. The ship responded to his commands in subtle, almost intuitive ways. "It's waiting," Elias said softly, "waiting for someone willing to understand it." Sleep did not come easily. His mind buzzed with ideas and plans. He imagined the ship restored to full power, cutting through the stars, faster and stronger than anyone expected. He imagined what humans could do with a machine that seemed designed to resist limitations. And somewhere deep inside the ship, a response echoed faintly, a pulse, a vibration that felt like recognition. It was as if the ship had been waiting for him all this time, waiting for a human who could see beyond the broken metal and rust. By morning, Elias was already working. Panels were opened, circuits examined, and engines inspected. He documented everything, noting what needed repairs and what could be improved. Most of the work required creativity, not brute force. Humans excelled at that. Outside, the aliens whispered, "He will fail. No human could revive that ship." But Elias ignored them. He had learned long ago that humans thrived where others doubted them, that ingenuity often came from the most unexpected places. The first sparks of the engine ignited, not fully, but enough to make the ship tremble with life. The smell of ozone filled the corridors and the lights grew brighter, steady for the first time in centuries. Elias grinned. "Just the beginning," he said. For the first time in decades, the forgotten starship had a chance, and it had chosen its captain wisely. In the quiet of the empty cargo bay, the faint hum of energy pulsed through the metal frame. Elias walked through the ship, feeling a strange sense of partnership forming. This was no longer just a machine, it was a partner, waiting to reach its full potential. And together, they would face a galaxy that had underestimated them both. And so began the story of a human and a forgotten starship, one that everyone else had dismissed, but that had the power to surprise the entire galaxy. The next morning, the sunlight of the distant star station barely reached the shadowed hull of the derelict starship. Inside, Captain Elias Grant moved quickly, energized by the excitement of yesterday's purchase. While the aliens dismissed the ship as worthless, Elias knew better. He had seen the faint hum of its core, the pulse of hidden power that hinted at something remarkable. He started his day in the engine room, a vast space filled with dust and debris. The main propulsion core was damaged but salvageable. Panels were cracked, wires tangled and broken, and the metal had corroded in places. Any ordinary mechanic would have given up. But Elias was no ordinary human. He examined every component with careful attention, his hands moving with precision and confidence. "This ship isn't broken," he muttered. "It's misunderstood." Elias began repairs by scavenging usable parts from the cargo bay, combining them with tools he brought. He twisted wires, replaced broken conduits, and reinforced weakened panels. Some of the components required him to think differently. Alien engineering favored rigidity and perfection, but human engineering thrived on adaptation and improvisation. He attached a new energy regulator to the core, improvising a stabilization system using an old circuit board, a set of magnetic coils, and a small human-made microreactor. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. When he activated it, the engine hummed more steadily, vibrating with renewed life. The light from the core pulsed in response, as if the ship itself acknowledged his efforts. Hours passed, and Elias worked tirelessly, his mind always planning ahead. He discovered areas of the ship no alien had touched for decades, hidden compartments, unused circuits, and secret conduits that seemed intentionally placed for someone clever enough to use them. One such discovery came in the ship's main corridor. A panel in the wall slid open when he pressed a hidden button. Inside was a console, small and unassuming, covered with alien glyphs that no human had seen before. Elias ran his hands across the surface. The panel vibrated faintly, as if alive. "Interesting," he whispered. "Someone made this smart, but not too smart. It's waiting for me." He spent hours decoding the console. It was a rudimentary AI core, but advanced in ways he had never encountered. It could analyze energy flows, predict system failures, and even suggest modifications to its own design. Most aliens would have abandoned it, intimidated by its complexity. Elias, however, saw opportunity. Humans thrived on challenges like this. He worked carefully, connecting the AI core to the ship's systems. As he did, he felt a subtle shift in the air, a gentle vibration that seemed almost like recognition. The ship was awakening. "Hello?" Elias asked cautiously, testing the AI's response. The lights along the corridor pulsed once. A soft voice, distorted but audible, spoke. "Welcome, Captain." Elias froze. A faint smile crossed his face. "So you do speak. Good, we're going to get along just fine." Over the next few days, he explored more of the ship, repairing life support systems, cleaning air filters, and replacing old conduits. Every system he restored seemed to respond to him personally. The AI learned his methods quickly, adjusting energy flows and optimizing performance in ways that surprised even him. But repairing the ship was not simple. Some systems resisted conventional fixes. In the navigation room, the star charts were corrupted, showing strange, incomplete data. The communications array was offline, and every standard repair attempt failed. Elias was frustrated, but not for long. Humans were adaptable, and he had a knack for seeing solutions where others saw failure. He climbed into the maintenance ducts, a cramped space of wires and tubes that made most aliens refuse the task. Using small, portable tools, he rerouted circuits, patched damaged conduits, and even fashioned makeshift sensors to replace broken ones. By the end of the day, the navigation system hummed softly, ready to scan the stars again. "Nothing is impossible," Elias said, wiping sweat from his brow. "Just challenging." As the ship slowly revived, he began testing its capabilities. Engines could barely lift the vessel off the docking platform, but the energy readings suggested immense potential. The AI, now partially awakened, began suggesting modifications to the propulsion system. With Elia's guidance, the ship would not just fly. It would become faster, stronger, and more resilient than any other cruiser its size. One night, as Elias rested in the captain's quarters, the ship pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. He sat up, feeling a strange connection forming between him and the AI. The voice was quiet, almost whispering. "You see potential," it said. "Others did not." "Yes," Elias replied. "Most creatures only see what is broken. Humans, we see what can be." The AI hummed in agreement. Over the next few days, the human and machine became partners. Elias discovered hidden compartments with old supplies, strange alien devices, and even logs from the ship's previous missions. Many contained maps of uncharted space, secret technologies, and warnings about dangers the galaxy had long forgotten. It was in these logs that Elias found the first hint of the ship's true purpose. It had been designed not just as a warship, but as a vessel capable of exploring unknown space, adapting to threats, and surviving conditions that would destroy most other ships. Its resilience was unmatched, and its potential, once fully awakened, was almost limitless. Elias realized that no alien had dared to repair it because they couldn't imagine using it in ways the ship was designed to adapt. Humans, however, were different. They thrived on unpredictability, on improvisation, and on facing danger head-on. The work was grueling. Days blurred into nights, and Elias often found himself exhausted, covered in grease and soot. Yet he never lost his determination. Each repaired system, each flicker of restored power was a victory. Every time the AI responded with understanding, he felt a thrill of partnership, as though the ship itself was encouraging him. Then came the breakthrough. In the engine room, Elias had fashioned a new power distribution system using a combination of human engineering and salvaged alien tech. He activated it, and for the first time, the engines roared to life fully, vibrating the floor and sending a deep hum through the ship. The lights brightened, systems stabilized, and the AI spoke clearly. Energy levels optimal, core efficiency at 79%, ready for initial flight tests. Elias laughed aloud, a sound of pure triumph. "We did it. You're alive, my friend. And we're going to show the galaxy what humans can do." But not everything was smooth. As he ran tests, he noticed anomalies in the ship's sensors. Strange energy readings, faint disturbances in the surrounding space, signals that suggested someone or something had been monitoring the ship. Elias frowned. The galaxy was large, but the ship's revival might not go unnoticed. "Better be ready," he muttered. "If they thought humans were easy to ignore before, they won't now." Despite the warnings, Elias continued. He repaired weapons systems, optimized shielding, and even upgraded life support beyond the ship's original design. Every improvement reflected his human ingenuity. Where aliens saw limitations, he saw opportunities. And slowly, the derelict cruiser transformed into something formidable, something no one could predict. One evening, as he walked the corridors, Elias felt the ship tremble lightly, not from engines but from awareness. The AI spoke softly, almost thoughtfully. "You are different," it said. "Others would have given up, you do not." "That's what humans do," Elias replied. "We keep going even when it seems impossible. That's how we survive and how we win." As Part 2 drew to a close, the ship was no longer just a wreck. It was a living machine, partially awakened, with a human at its core. Elias had not only repaired it, he had bonded with it, unlocking potential that no alien could comprehend. Together, they were ready to face the galaxy, unpredictable, resilient, and extraordinary. And somewhere deep inside the derelict cruiser, hidden systems stirred, waiting for the day the full power of human creativity would awaken them completely. That day was coming, and when it arrived, the galaxy would take notice. Captain Elias Grant had worked tirelessly for weeks, and the once-forgotten Starship was now far from the derelict it had been at the auction. Lights glowed steadily along corridors, engines hummed with restrained power, and the ship's AI, now fully awake, anticipated Elias' moves with subtle precision. The vessel seemed almost alive, and it responded to his commands as if it understood him, not just as a captain but as a partner. Yet, despite the victories, Elias could feel the first stirrings of trouble. News of the human-owned ship had spread quickly through the networks of nearby star systems. Aliens who had mocked him at the auction now whispered nervously to one another. A vessel that had been beyond repair was now operational, and that human captain had made it clear it would fly. Elias reviewed the navigation logs and noticed a pattern. Unusual energy signatures had been following him for days, faint, fast-moving traces that suggested someone had been observing the ship without revealing themselves. Whoever it was, they were cautious, waiting for the right moment to strike. AI, run full scans of the surrounding systems, Elias commanded. Yes, Captain, the ship responded. Scanning, anomalies detected. Probability of approaching hostile vessels, 37%. 37%, that's too high for comfort, Elias muttered. Prepare defensive protocols anyway. I don't want surprises. He moved through the corridors, checking systems one last time. The AI had already optimized the shields and weapons, but Elias preferred to double-check. Humans had a way of thinking 2 steps ahead. Alien technology was predictable, often rigid. Humans thrived on improvisation. That advantage, he knew, could make the difference. The first sign of danger came as a faint shimmer in the sensor array. Small dots appeared on the display, fast-moving, coordinated, and clearly hostile. Alien interceptors, their design sleek and deadly, were closing in. "They've found us," Elias said calmly. "Let's see if they can keep up." The enemy fleet approached with confidence. Its alien captains assumed they were dealing with a standard human vessel, easy prey compared to their advanced warships. They did not know Elias or the ship he now commanded. Elias grinned. "Humans are full of surprises. Let's give them one." He engaged the engines, sending the ship lurching forward with a burst of power. The alien vessels tried to match his speed, but the derelict cruiser, rebuilt and improved by human ingenuity, maneuvered with a flexibility they could not anticipate. Its AI anticipated evasive patterns and adjusted thrust vectors instantly, performing calculations no alien pilot would attempt. Energy beams flashed across the void as the aliens opened fire. Shields absorbed the initial bursts, but Elias knew their attacks would increase in intensity. He reached the weapons console and activated a sequence he had devised, redirecting excess energy to the shield nodes in quick, unpredictable pulses. The alien beams struck weak points in the shield, then were deflected safely. "Not bad," Elias said, laughing quietly. "You see, humans adapt." The AI added almost proudly, "Captain, your improvisation is effective. Enemy response patterns are predictable. Probability of successful counterattack, 72%. Elias nodded. He had expected this. Humans often exploited patterns others overlooked. While the aliens relied on rigid strategies, he thrived on thinking creatively. He fired a series of energy pulses from the ship's main cannons, not directly at the interceptors, but in arcs designed to force them into collision courses. The alien ships were momentarily confused, some colliding with debris, others firing at empty space. The battle intensified. Elias knew he could not simply outrun or outgun them forever. He needed something clever, something humans excelled at. He accessed the ship's hidden compartments, revealing auxiliary thrusters he had repaired and upgraded. With a few manual adjustments, he redirected the engines, creating bursts of movement in directions the alien pilots could not predict. The derelict cruiser danced through the battle, dodging attacks and returning precise counterfire. Aliens were beginning to panic. They had assumed humans were weak, clumsy, and predictable. Instead, they were witnessing something they could not calculate: human ingenuity and courage in action. Then came the turning point. Elias identified the command ship of the alien fleet. It was larger, heavily armored, and clearly in charge. Instead of charging it head-on, he devised a new strategy. Using the ship's AI, he created a temporary holographic projection, a decoy ship mirroring their own vessel. The enemy fleet, confused by multiple images, split their fire between real and fake targets. "AI, execute the maneuver," Elias commanded. "Yes, Captain," the AI replied. Energy flares pulsed, engines shifted, and the decoy appeared perfectly on sensors, tricking the alien fleet. In a matter of moments, the interceptors were scattered, disoriented, and vulnerable. Elias struck, targeting weak points in their formation. One by one, enemy vessels were disabled or forced to retreat. The derelict cruiser, once dismissed as a worthless relic, now dominated the battlefield. The human captain and his ship had turned the tide entirely. When the last alien craft fled, Elias exhaled slowly, wiping sweat from his brow. "And that, my friend," he said to the AI, "is why humans never give up." The AI responded, a faint echo of pride in its voice. "Captain, your strategy was unexpected, highly effective." Elias smiled. "Unexpected is our specialty. That's why humans survive where others fail. And it's why the galaxy will remember us." As they left the battlefield behind, Elias studied the star charts. The anomalies he had detected earlier had vanished, but he knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and humans were now on the radar of species who had underestimated them. In the days that followed, the ship systems continued to improve. Elias experimented with enhancements, combining alien technology with human innovation. Shields became adaptive, capable of bending energy beams in ways alien engineers had never imagined. Weapons were modified for rapid deployment, with clever targeting systems that learned from combat experience. The AI, now fully integrated with Elia's strategies, suggested unconventional modifications. Together, they rewired parts of the ship, creating hidden compartments, redundant systems, and fail-safes that made the vessel nearly indestructible for its size. But Elias knew the galaxy would not remain passive. Word of the human-owned ship's victory spread quickly. Alien fleets whispered rumors, some admiring the ingenuity, others plotting revenge. Elias understood this. He had made enemies, powerful, dangerous enemies. Yet he was ready. Humans thrived in the face of danger. They adapted, innovated, and never surrendered. One evening, as the ship drifted near a small star system, Elias received a transmission. The voice was alien, formal, and dripping with thinly veiled threat. "Human, you have made a mistake. Your vessel, your audacity, will not go unanswered." Elias leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. "Interesting," he murmured. "They finally noticed. Good. It means we're doing something right." The AI replied, "Captain, threat analysis. High probability of encounter with advanced alien fleet. Recommendation: continue ship enhancements, prepare for defensive measures." Elias nodded. "Already ahead of you. Let's make sure they regret ever thinking humans are easy prey." He spent the following weeks exploring hidden features of the ship. Secret propulsion boosters, advanced cloaking arrays, and an adaptive weapon system were all activated and fine-tuned. Elias even discovered that the AI could analyze enemy patterns and suggest maneuvers in real time, a combination no alien fleet could anticipate. The human and the ship had become partners in true sense. Elias' ingenuity, combined with the AI's intelligence and the ship's hidden potential, made them unpredictable, formidable, and unstoppable. Then, late one night, the AI spoke, almost thoughtfully. "Captain, this vessel is designed for humans. We are achieving levels of performance no other species could imagine." Elias smiled, staring at the stars outside the viewport. "Exactly. Humans never fit the expectations of others. That's why we survive. That's why we excel. And that's why we'll continue to astonish this galaxy." The derelict Starship, once ignored and dismissed, had now become a legend in the making. Its first true battle had proven that humans were not to be underestimated. Every system repaired, every strategy devised, and every move executed reflected human creativity and courage. And somewhere deep inside the ship, in hidden systems yet untapped, even greater power stirred, waiting for the day when Elias and humanity would awaken it fully. For now, though, they had passed the first real test, and the galaxy was beginning to learn the truth. Humans were unpredictable, brilliant, and dangerous in ways no one could calculate. Elias leaned back, hands resting on the console. "We've come a long way," he said. "And the best is yet to come." The ship pulsed in response, almost like a heartbeat. It was alive, aware, and ready, and so was humanity. The test of fire was over, but the adventure had only just begun. The galaxy had changed since Captain Elias Grant had revived the derelict Starship. What was once a forgotten relic was now a fully functional, highly advanced vessel, bristling with adaptive technology and clever human modifications. Aliens who had once laughed at its purchase now whispered nervously about the human captain who had turned it into a weapon and a legend. Elias stood on the bridge, watching the stars streak past. The ship's AI, fully integrated with his strategies, monitored the surrounding space. "Captain, unusual energy readings detected. High probability of multiple fleets coordinating nearby," the AI said, its calm voice betraying the tension in the data. Elias' eyes narrowed. "Sounds like the galaxy's starting to take notice. Let's make sure they regret it." The threat was immediate. Alien fleets, sensing the human ship's growing power, had begun coordinating to intercept it. Several ships moved through uncharted systems toward the same point, forming an armada intended to destroy Elias and his vessel before humans could fully demonstrate their capabilities. Elias grinned. "We've handled worse, haven't we?" The AI pulsed in acknowledgement. "Indeed, Captain, probability of successful engagement, 58% without full deployment of hidden systems. Recommendation, activate all upgrades." Elias nodded. This was no longer a simple test. The galaxy itself had become the battlefield. The derelict ship, now fully awakened, would need every advantage humanity could engineer. As they approached the rendezvous point, Elias reviewed his strategy. The alien armada was large, heavily armed, and well coordinated. Most human captains would have avoided such a confrontation entirely, but Elias did not think like most humans. He saw opportunity where others saw danger. "AI, deploy cloaking systems and adaptive decoys. Prepare the auxiliary thrusters for rapid maneuvers. Weapons online and ready. Let's show them what humans are made of." The stars ahead shimmered as the alien fleet appeared, vast and threatening. Their ships moved in perfect formation, confident that a single human vessel could not withstand their combined might. Elias took a deep breath. "Here's the plan. We hit them where they least expect it, then we exploit every weakness we can find. Stay sharp, my friend." The battle began in a flash of energy beams and engine flares. The alien fleet opened fire, assuming they would easily overwhelm the human ship. They did not know the vessel's full potential, or the mind behind it. Elias guided the ship with precision, using rapid bursts from the auxiliary thrusters to dodge concentrated fire. The AI anticipated the enemy's moves, adjusting shields and targeting systems instantly. For every attack the aliens launched, Elias countered with unpredictable maneuvers, making it impossible for them to coordinate. "Captain, the enemy formation is faltering. Their energy shields are fluctuating," the AI reported. "Good," Elias said, activating the adaptive weapon system. Energy pulses fired in arcs, targeting weak points in the enemy fleet that no alien sensors could predict. Several ships were disabled instantly, their systems overloaded by the clever distribution of energy. The alien commanders exchanged worried signals. Their calculations had not accounted for human ingenuity, the way Elias used unpredictability and creativity to turn their strengths into weaknesses. Elias smiled. "They think they can outgun us. Let's see how they handle this." He activated the ship's hidden propulsion boosters, performing rapid, almost impossible maneuvers. The derelict cruiser darted between the enemy lines, weaving through attacks with precision that left alien pilots bewildered. Each movement exploited the weaknesses they assumed didn't exist. Captain, probability of enemy defeat increasing rapidly, the AI noted. Recommendation, continue aggressive maneuvers and maintain unpredictability. Elias nodded. Exactly what we're doing. With every move, the human ingenuity of Elias and the awakened ship became more apparent. The alien fleet, confident in their superior numbers and technology, found themselves outmatched by creativity, speed, and adaptive tactics. Several ships collided, others misfired, and the Armada's coordination fell apart. In the midst of the chaos, Elias identified the flagship of the alien Armada. He knew that disabling it would break the fleet entirely. But instead of attacking directly, he devised a strategy even the AI admired. AI, initiate energy pulse diversion. Create multiple decoy signals, all leading toward the flagship. Then, engage the main cannons at maximum capacity. Yes, Captain, the AI responded. Lights pulsed along the hull as systems realigned, and the decoy signals began their deceptive path. The alien flagship, thinking it was targeting the human vessel, redirected its defenses toward the false signals. In the same instant, Elias fired the ship's main energy cannons directly at weak points in the flagship's armor, exploiting structural flaws the aliens had assumed no human could discover. The resulting explosion tore through its hull, sending shockwaves across the battlefield. The remaining alien ships faltered. Without their flagship coordinating, confusion spread. Many retreated, unwilling to face a human captain whose unpredictability defied all logic. Those who remained were systematically disabled by Elias' clever maneuvers and the ship's adaptive systems. When the battle ended, silence fell over the void. The derelict cruiser floated among the debris, fully operational, its hull intact, its systems humming with vitality. Elias leaned back in the captain's chair, a small smile on his face. "Not bad for a human ship," he said softly. The AI responded, "Captain, the probability of complete enemy defeat by conventional methods was near zero. Your strategy and ingenuity achieved results exceeding expectations." Elias chuckled. "That's humans for you, always finding a way." News of the battle spread quickly. Alien empires that had once dismissed humans as inconsequential now regarded them with caution, and in some cases, fear. Stories circulated of the human captain who had revived a forgotten starship and used it to defeat a coordinated armada through clever tactics, bravery, and sheer unpredictability. Elias did not seek fame. He only wanted to explore, to uncover the secrets of the galaxy, and to prove that humans could achieve what others thought impossible. And in this mission, he had succeeded. In the following days, he continued to enhance the ship. Hidden systems were activated, energy efficiencies increased, and the AI learned to predict even the most complex threats. The derelict cruiser had become more than a vessel. It was a testament to human ingenuity, resilience, and adaptability. One evening, Elias stood on the observation deck, gazing at a distant star cluster. The galaxy was vast, filled with wonders, dangers, and opportunities. He knew that more challenges would come, more fleets would seek to test him, but he was ready. Humans had a unique strength, the ability to adapt, to innovate, and to survive against impossible odds. The AI spoke softly. "Captain, this vessel is fully operational, hidden potential unlocked. Probability of future encounters, high but manageable with your continued leadership." Elias smiled. "Exactly, we're just getting started. Humanity has much to show the galaxy." And so, the once-forgotten starship became a symbol. Aliens who had mocked it now studied it, trying to understand how one human had achieved what seemed impossible. Stories of Captain Elias Grant spread through interstellar networks, a legend in the making. The human ingenuity that had revived the ship, paired with courage and clever strategy, proved a powerful combination. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson. Humans were not to be underestimated. Where others saw decay, humans saw opportunity. Where others hesitated, humans acted. Where others relied on routine, humans innovated. Elias knew the adventure was far from over. The ship still held secrets, systems that had not yet been activated, and paths into uncharted space that promised new discoveries. But for now, he allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. Humans had turned a forgotten relic into a legend, and the galaxy would never forget it. As the stars stretched into lines across the viewport, Elias whispered, "This is just the beginning. Humanity will rise wherever it is underestimated, and we will leave a legacy that even the stars will remember." The ship pulsed with life, its systems responding to him as if it shared his resolve. Together, human and machine drifted through the void, ready for the next adventure, and leaving the galaxy with a simple, undeniable truth: underestimate humans at your peril. And somewhere, deep within the derelict cruiser, the last hidden systems waited, awaiting the day their full power would be unleashed. When that day came, the galaxy would witness the true legacy of humanity. Captain Elias Grant smiled, knowing that day would come, and when it did, the stars themselves would bow to human ingenuity. The adventure of a forgotten starship had become the legend of humanity, and the galaxy would never look at humans the same way again.